Guys, welcome to another episode of One Sick Project Podcast, brought to you by me, your host, Brandon. And joining me is a very special guest. I really don't know him at all, but we're going to get to know each other.
Yeah, that's the goal today.
So it's going to be fun. And if you just want to present yourself and kind of what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Scottie Hobbs. I have been married for 17 years to my wife, Gabby. We met at Warp Tour in Salt Lake City at the fairgrounds. I played music, I played guitar, and she was a promoter for a venue. So we have a picture from the moment we met because she's just like, she came up with her friend and she's like, hey, we want to take a picture of you guys for the venue. So I have a picture when we met. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
We got married about a year later, had a kid less than a year after that. And so we've been rolling since then. I have 5 kids.
Wow. So you met your wife 17 years ago. When does the Scottie of social media come into picture?
So that's a good question. So my name is Scott.
Yeah.
And, you asked that when I came in. That's my birth name, Scott Hobbs. But when I started my business, I fell in love with health and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
I did some P90X DVDs, and I started helping people with them.
I remember those from high school.
Yeah, I got the ripped in 90 days. I lost 38 pounds, followed the meal plan. And people just started asking me, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I need to lose 30 pounds or I need to lose 50 pounds. So I started helping them out. And then obviously social media, I was new to it at the time. It was 2010. I didn't really use it other than put a picture of the kid when they were born or the camping trip. And so I started to get a lot of people that were like, dude, like, I want help with that. That's cool. I'm inspired. But then there was also the people that were like, put your shirt on. Like, no one wants to see that.
The critics.
Yeah, the critics.
Gotcha.
So for me, it started like, I started building the business with it, and I didn't want to bother people. Mm-hmm. And now I look back and it was kind of silly that I did it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm just going to create a whole new page on Facebook. I'll use my nickname, which is Scottie.
Yeah.
So I created this Facebook page, Scottie Hobbs, and I still have my old one, Scott Hobbs, that has like my first kid's, birth and stuff. But I really just started because I didn't want to annoy the friends. But what ended up happening was I didn't know anybody, so I started re-adding all the people that I had over there. So
they probably were like, man, is this a fake account or something?
Yeah. So that's where it started, and it kind of stuck.
Yeah.
It's a nickname, my mom called me that. And
I think Scottie's a good marketing name too.
Yeah. So it's kind of like an alter ego.
Yeah, okay.
Too, where I'm like, I was going to go do something different with my life and I was like, so I had to change who I was in a way.
Gotcha.
So it was like the new Scottie.
The new Scottie. It's like David Goggins type of deal.
Yeah, similar.
Gotcha. Okay, so your business, because, do you want to share what you're part of, or is it your own business from scratch?
I can share. I partnered with the company Beachbody. Mm-hmm. So it's a P90X, Insanity, all of those workouts.
Oh, okay.
And so I partnered with them. It took me like a year to make that decision. I was 100% against it.
Yeah.
And I heard you were in a business model like an MLM before. So I was like, I got like spammy copy and pasted messages in my inbox.
Really?
After I showed my results, and I was like, I'm never going to do that, whatever that thing is.
Interesting.
And so it took me like a year. I watched other people that were successful, and I was like, okay, I can do it like that.
Yeah. For me, with my MLM business that I had, it for me was the dream that I got, my eyes open to. Because I from high school, like ever since I was in high school, really, even middle school, I've always wanted to do something more than just like kind of go to school and things like that, but I didn't know how to. Yeah. So that was always the question. What am I supposed to do that's going to take me to where I want to go, right? And right around the time when I was 16, right around there, this person came up to me and kind of introduced me to the MLM business. And then what got me was the endless possibilities that they kind of opened my eyes to. And I was like, man, that's incredible. Like I want to accomplish those things. And if you can, I for sure can, that was kind of my train of thought there. And so, was in it for 4 years and didn't make any money, but I took a lot of people skills from it and a lot of personal skills that I now am able to use.
Yeah.
And so I think what I invested in that business, which is a lot of money now that I think about it, I was like, man, I should have not invested that much money. But it taught me that if you really want something, you're going to get it, because I was 16 years old investing close to $1,000 a month.
Oh, wow. That's crazy to me.
And I was working part-time.
Yeah.
It's like, how did I survive, And yeah, it was a lot of money. And so if you do that every month for 4 years, you'll know.
You're like, no.
Yeah, you'll know how much I invested into that business. But that's what I got out of it, you know, and that's a great teaching. So yeah.
I just partnered with them. I think one of the things that I love too, and I'll never hash any business or any company or anything like that, but I just love that. Like I was already in love with the programs and the supplements, and it was one of those things I didn't have to buy a certain amount. Yeah. It was like, just use what I'm using already anyway, and then help other people. And I went into it super like, I don't want to be spammy. I don't want to be salesy. Like what held me off from doing it for a year
was that.
So it was very natural for me.
Gotcha.
Like I was already telling people before for an entire 8 or 9 months.
And that helps. I think that helps with that type of business.
I was selling it, but I didn't have any links or anything. It was like, go get P90X, and they'd go buy it from wherever. And then I would help them, even though I wasn't officially doing it. Yeah.
So why fitness? I mean, that's such an interesting industry to get into. I mean, it's hard. It's a hard industry to get into, right? And to kind of grow in it, it's hard too.
I think any business is extremely difficult. It's extremely rewarding on the other side.
Right.
But extremely difficult. And then you add a fitness business on top of that. There's tons of gyms, all kinds of opportunities. People do free workouts on YouTube that people can follow.
Yep.
So it is challenging, but I chose that because it changed my life, man. Gotcha. Like we won't go into all the details. I mean, you might take me there, but I dropped out of college. I did way too much snowboarding, way too much chasing girls, skateboarding, playing music, that I just didn't go to class. And I had like a 1.01 grade point average or something. That's crazy. So, fast forward in my life, I kind of lost some of my self-esteem just because I was like always a hard worker, always this, I guess you'd say, like just a great person. I thought as a kid, I was like, even when I was a kid, this is kind of funny. Like I was like, why don't the girls like me? I'm the good guy, you know?
Right? Yeah.
And so, being that good guy, like I made a lot of poor choices, playing music, drinking, drugs, everything, dropping out of college. And so, when I found P90X, it built my self-esteem.
How did you find P90X?
So I attended church, and I hadn't gone for the 5 years that my wife and I were married. Okay. And so someone knocked on my door, and it was someone from the church. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
And they come in. I let him in because he just looks like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he had a plate of brownies. So I'm like, come on in.
And you're like, yeah, man.
And my wife worked nights at that time. She worked at the Hilton Garden Inn, and I had 2 little girls. And it turns out he had 2 little girls. But as I was sitting there, the guy had like veins sticking out of his arms, his biceps were bulging out, like just jacked. He's like 230, like 6'2", solid
big
muscle.
Guy.
Yeah,
it's huge guy.
And it turned out he played for the University of Utah on the special team, and he had just moved here to coach football at IF and be the strength coach.
Wow.
And so I'm like, dude, you got 2 girls, I got 2 girls.
Yeah.
You look like that, and I'm fat. Like, tell me what to do. And he's like, come, I strength train the high school kids, come work out with us. And so I'm like, okay, let's do it. When do I go? Yeah. And they trained at 6 a.m. I worked 5 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Wow.
And so I was like, man, I can't go at that time. Do you have something I could do? Do you know something? And he's like, dude, you should try that P90X workout. So that's where it started for me.
Because it was big for a good amount of time, right? I remember I was in middle school over at Sand Creek, and we had a class one time where they put P90X workouts up. And it was like just, body movement workouts, like jumping jacks and body squats and things like that. And all the kids in the class did it. And it was a big deal back then. And then out of nowhere, it just kind of vanished. And, now no one really talks about P90X. Yeah. At least from what I heard, It's probably still big. It's just
you don't hear about it as much.
Yeah, well, at least my circle of influence is not really talking about it. But it was a huge deal back then. I remember when I was
you probably younger. Did plyometrics. It was probably that workout jumping around.
It got me sweating. I'll tell you that much, dude. I was a fat little, not a fat little kid, but I was a chubby little kid, Yeah. And I think I've always been like the shorter, stockier type of person. And it was hard, my body weights have always been up and down. Like it's never consistent, and that's kind of what kills me now. But it's P90X was crazy back then.
Yeah. So that's the business I chose to go into just because it changed my life, man.
Yeah.
Like when I committed to it, I lost 38 pounds.
Wow.
At abs for the first time. Just people are
So
like.
what was your wife's reaction at that? I mean,
she did it with me.
Oh wow, awesome.
When he had mentioned that, this is something I don't talk about enough. It just
Yeah.
reminded me of it right now. Is I got the DVDs, printed out the meal plan, I'm going to do this, and then I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you just put it away.
Yeah, and it was one day I came home from work after my 12-hour shift, and I remember laying on the couch, and I remember hearing his voice in the basement, and my wife started it, and she finished it, and then she jogged up and down the stairs a couple times, and it was just a moment man, I'm here laying on the couch doing nothing. She did that workout and she's running up and down the stairs. I gotta get my stuff together.
Yeah, interesting. So she kind of pushed you to
so we did it together. We set a goal to go on a cruise. We had scrapped together money for that year. Mm-hmm. Saved. It was a $350 cruise, and
nice.
And we set a goal to get fit and look good, and that was the initial start.
Gotcha. What did you do back then?
So I worked. My first career was a dental lab technician in Salt Lake. That's when I was playing music, working as a dental lab technician. Yep. Had my kid with the help of WIC and Medicare and all of that stuff, thankfully. And I never got a raise in 2 years, and it was just me and the owner.
Wow.
And he watched me have my kid, and I'm just I need a raise. I'm really struggling. And he just basically said I wasn't worth it yet.
Wow.
So I was I'm going to move to back to Idaho Falls. I'm from here.
Yeah.
Because it's less expensive than Salt Lake. So I brought my wife, my 3-month-old. We lived in my parents' house, looked for a house, bought a house. And I tried to get a dental lab job, and I only got offered $9.50 an hour. Dang. And I had experience.
Oh my gosh.
And this is 2007.
Okay.
And so I went to the job I worked at through high school in college, which was Idaho Steel Products on Anderson. Yeah. He was my church leader growing up, and he always gave me a job through high school and college. So I just went to him and told him I was looking for a job, and he offered me a little more than that, but he's like, we have a ton of work. So I know you're a hard worker. I'll give you all the overtime hours you need. If you're going to be here and work hard, then
nice.
Then you can work all the hours you need.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then you moved back, and then how long was it from then that you kind of came into the P90X?
So that was 5 years. And I literally worked the 12-hour days for about 5 years straight.
Wow.
And we had our second daughter, and my wife worked at the Hilton Garden. She had a couple jobs. She worked at the daycare with my oldest, and then that was, she didn't like that. She worked at Melaleuca. She speaks Spanish. She's from Bolivia. And
shout out. I don't know Bolivian language like that, but shout out to Bolivia.
Yeah, Bolivia.
Wife. Yeah, Bolivia.
Yeah, so she worked at the Spanish, answering the phone and stuff, the customer service.
Nice.
Didn't like that at all. That lasted 2 weeks. We used that income to get approved for a house.
Oh, okay,
and then when she got her job at the hotel, it was a lot lower.
Yeah.
But it was something that she loved doing. She worked at a hotel in Salt Lake when I met her. So she worked there at nights from 3 to 11. I worked 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. for about 5 years.
Wow. So where does this drive to working 12 hours for 4 years straight or 5 years straight is not easy.
Yeah.
And then starting P90X, and more so to get fit, where do you think the drive comes for you? Does it come from a parent showing you or where?
My parents taught me a lot of great things. I owe a lot of my success to them. Just because I remember as a Boy Scout when I was little, I wanted to go to this jamboree back east.
Yeah.
You'd go to Washington, D.C., Disney World, all the New York City.
That's cool.
And it was $2,000. And, my parents worked hard, but it wasn't something we could just throw $2,000 out and go enjoy that. There's other things for that. So, but what they did do is okay, you can go, but you have to earn that money.
Ah, okay.
And so I bought and sold pizzas for Leo's place when they were a smaller place over on the west side. I had to go to him and be like, hey, I'm trying to earn money for this. Could I sell pizzas for you? And that's
cool.
He would give me coupons. I'd go out door to door and sell them. I mowed lawns, moved pipe, for 17 cents a pipe at 3:30 in the morning before school. I cleaned Ethel Boys Elementary as a janitor 2 hours a day after school. So
you were in high school around this time?
Yeah, it was probably sophomore year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
important lessons to learn, right?
Working hard.
Yeah. I think that if you don't go through that in high school, early sophomore, freshman year, I think it'll be hard when you get out of high school, to get used to that type of life of working.
Realize you got to work.
Yeah, when you're like, oh man, I actually need money now.
Yeah.
But
I think even even when I was younger, I wanted to be a pro baseball player.
Oh, okay.
So I had big dreams from when I was little.
Yeah.
I got to play in the Little League World Series, and that was my big goal and dream. And then when baseball didn't work out, then I was like, I'm going to be a musician.
Yeah.
I want to be like I want to be like Blink 182 was the thing back then.
Yeah.
And so I always had a big goal and dream for that. And I continued music until about 6 years ago. Produced 2 albums with a band here locally.
Dang, that's cool.
But I stopped playing with them. But prior to that, I remember working in the steel factory.
Mm-hmm.
I got out a notepad and I wrote out a goal.
Okay.
Or 3 goals specifically. It was like, I want to, because I'm working hard, 12-hour days. My wife's working nights. Every Saturday I was there from 7 a.m. to 11 also. Dang. And I wrote out a goal, retire at the age of 50, have my house paid off, and have $1 million in the bank. That was like my big life goal.
Yeah.
And I think it was important I wrote that out. But I soon realized, okay, if I keep moving up through this company, I could get to the top positions, work all the hours possible. That wasn't possible. To achieve that. No matter what I did, I wasn't in the right path.
Yeah.
So
I think usually maybe, I don't know, you can speak to this, but I think it takes finding like the right vehicle for you of where your goals are at, right? If you have a goal of, like for example, my goal right now is within the next 5 years is to retire my wife so she can be a full stay-home mom and full-time stay-home mom, and then earn at least 6 figures a year, right? And the set number of that is $500K a year. That's what I would like to earn. Yeah. With what I'm doing now at my job, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do that within the next 5 years, or ever really, because I'm an employee. Yeah. So what vehicle am I going to take to do that, to be able to accomplish that? And that's kind of where I'm at right now in life. That's figuring out the vehicle that's right for me. What are my interests? What do I like? What's going to give me the most ROI, right? If I invest this amount of time, what's going to give me the most ROI intellectually, like learning intellectually, right? Pleasure and just having fun with it. Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at. So
if you're going to do it long term and build it to what you want, from what you're saying, you have to have some passion behind it because business is hard. So you have to love what you do.
Yeah, and I think people don't understand that. Yeah, I think they just kind of dive into it, and then they end up not liking what they do, and it's like, man. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like they get their dreams crushed more than they actually help their dreams out. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that hold people back on that. It could be, let's say you meet me who does this certain business model or whatever, but you're already on a path doing something. Like I met a guy that has a window cleaning business, right? And he's building it successful. He wants to, expand it by next spring. Yep. But he could easily get distracted and be like, oh, but Scottie's doing this over here, and jump over to that. And then maybe they work with me for 2 or 3 years, and then they meet somebody that is doing something else, and they're like, oh, that looks a little better. And they jump over to that, and they never actually master the skills in something that they love. Yeah. So I think that is a big thing as well.
Yeah. Do you think, because your wife obviously had to support you a lot through almost everything now, right? Since you guys been married 17 years, so that's a huge accomplishment, especially now the divorce rate's like 50%.
That's a bigger accomplishment than the business, to be honest with you.
And that, and I'm married, so, marriage is within my generation and 20-year-olds is not talked about a lot,
Yeah. I think you're only 21?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
And I got married when I was 19. So it's been a year, almost, it'll be 2 years in April that I've been married now. But, the marriage is one of those things where it's like, it's hard, it's not easy. And the supporting part is like, Jackie, my wife, has been able to support me through all my crazy adventures, and I have no idea how she deals with it. And I'm sure your wife has done too. Yeah. And I think that's very important to having a partner, So what do you think? How do you think, marriage or your partner affects your overall success and what you want to do?
I think it's super important. I think it's one of the biggest decisions. It's the biggest decision you're going to make in your life. Even more important than what business are you going to build.
What's up, guys? Let's take a break from blasting your ear off. Now that I mentioned blasting your ear off, go check out Diamond Audio Engineering with our boy Leo. If you want customized beats, mixes, or audio in general, go check him out at diamondcut@gmail.com. That's his email. Or check him out on Instagram, FlaccoTVCKO. I'll spell that out for you guys. But yeah, go check him out if you need something for your podcast, music, or any type of audio engineering at Diamond Audio Engineering. Use code OAP for 15% off. Yeah.
Is who you're going to marry. So I hope you have a young audience so they can hear that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because, if you can't keep your marriage together, it's going to be extremely difficult to build a business if you're fighting to keep your marriage alive. Or whatever that might be. Like for me, I'm lucky in that aspect where, when I told her I was going to do this fitness business thing, she's like, I don't really know what that thing is, but like I believe in you, and if you decide to do something, you're going to make it happen. So go do it.
Dang, that's awesome. So how did your business go from square one to square? What square are you at right now? Would you say 5?
I don't know, man. We're building, man. So it's been incredible. Yeah.
It's been a good trajectory.
Yeah. So, what was the question again?
So how did you go from square one to where you're at now?
I was trying to answer like, what square am I in? I've never put it in a square. It took a lot of sacrifices. I think most people aren't willing to make those sacrifices. They want things instantaneously. For me, I did my business model without being officially in it or making any money for over a year before I actually enrolled to do it. And then once I did do it, I'd come home from a 12-hour shift. I had, at the time, 3 little girls, ages 2, 4, and 6 weeks old. My wife would be at work, so I'd have all 3 of them by myself after a 12-hour day. And being at a job as an employee, it's not, you're exhausted. Like it's
not easy.
Not the most high energy. Being an employee. And so then I'd take care of them, and then I would put them to bed, and I would work on my business 7 days a week for 3 to 4 hours a night till midnight, go to sleep, and get back up to be at work at 5. Damn. So it's like, I think too many people think you can just sit around and, it just kind of happens, or you get lucky. But it was 3 to 4 days a week, or 3 to 4 hours every day of the week.
Wow.
Like no longer playing Call of Duty. Quit my softball team. Had my friends be like, why aren't you going to play? And I'd be like, but I would tell them like, give me 2 years to build this business and I can come play softball every day. But like right now, this is what's important because I need to bring my wife home from work. I'm willing to work 12-hour days, but I'm going to build this thing so she can be home. Like when I get home at 5:30, we can eat dinner together, go take walks as a family, and not live separate lives. Because the first 5 years of our marriage was completely separate living. Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I was going to ask you. How did you balance everything? I mean, from working. I mean, you're working already 12 hours, so that's out.
Yeah.
You have 24 hours a day, right?
Yep.
And then you get home. You're putting in 3 to 4 hours. So let's say 4 hours into the business. So now you're at 16 hours.
Yeah.
And you
then
have to
3
sleep.
hours with the kids from 5 to 8.
Okay.
So what are we at now? Then I got like 4 to 5 hours of sleep.
So I
think way too many people, especially nowadays with the distractions, like I use social media to build my business.
Right.
But too many people are distracted by it. They're consuming it without producing anything or adding value to people.
I'm going through that right now. I'll be dude, listen, speaking of like your wife pushing you. No, I don't have TikTok, but I only use Instagram and basically Instagram. I don't use Facebook or TikTok because it'll just hook me,
Yeah.
It's bad. But speaking about your wife pushing you with P90X, my wife, it's starting Monday, because I'll tell you kind of what happened. You know how earlier I was going to tell you a little bit. I think you're going to resemble to it. At 5 in the morning, 5:30, she's like, hey, get up. I'm like, what? Because I don't go to work till 7:30, so I'm like, I still have an hour left of sleep, like, why am I going to get up? And I'm tired. She's like, get up, you're going to the gym. I'm like, no, I don't want to go to the gym. And she's like, yes, you are. Get up right now. And so she made me get up, basically. I went to the gym for 30 minutes, literally. Did 3 workouts, came back home, and that was that. And then today, the same thing again. But I'm feeling tired because at night, I'm spending an hour and a half just watching Reels, Instagram Reels. and I'm not doing anything.
It'll drain your energy too. Even though it's an hour, it'll drain your, anytime that I'm like today, like my life is basically like, I've created a life that I always dreamed of. Like I get my kids off to school, I work out, I read and study personal development. I recruit obviously to my business or customers, train my team, and I'm done by like 2:45, and then I'm with throwing football with the kids and whatnot, and all of that stuff. And so like I don't have a 12-hour job anymore, and I haven't for 12 years. Wow. So that's been my life for the past 12 years, being there with the kids. But anytime that I get super grumpy or irritated, just with life in general, or my business, or my wife, or my kids, or people in general, is when I realize that I'm using my spare time on the couch to scroll, or I'm sitting down to eat and I'm scrolling. It just something about it.
It's something, right?
I mean, I love it. You consume it. It feels good. It's like an addiction. But then just like any addiction, afterwards you feel like crap.
Exactly. Because in the moment, for me at least, what it feels like, it's like I'm relaxing. Yeah. Right? So it's like I'm home, I'm relaxing, I'm done with the day, it's over, I don't have to do anything else, and I'm just relaxing. But little do I know that, maybe unconsciously, the time that I'm spending there, it's time taken away from my sleep, which in the morning, and then I'm having a hard time to get up. Yeah. Which then I get grumpy, because I'm like, why am I getting up to the gym, and my wife is over here pushing me for me to go to the gym because she knows that I need that in my life. And then it's like a cycle, So that's what I realized. I was like, man, I need to go to bed at like 9, 10 p.m. latest, right? And wake up 4:45. Like that's the golden number for me to wake up at. And if I don't wake up at that time, then, it's going to be rough. But it's interesting. It's like an interesting thing to think about. I don't think, it's hard. I think it's hard to come by until you like get sick of it. And you're like, oh, okay, what's going on now?
Yeah, what is it that's bothering me? I got a tip for you. Okay. Get a good book, personal development book, mindset book, and just replace that habit.
Anything to recommend?
Oh man, I've read I think it's 497 books in the past 12 years. Dang. Just pick something good. Yeah, what I'm reading right now that resonates with me might not be what you need in your season of life. But there's a lot of good ones.
You know what I'm thinking about? Have you read Atomic Habits?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about picking that one up.
That's Clear, right? James Clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about picking that one up. I was reading Can't Hurt Me with
David Goggins. It's a good one.
And I'm a little bit more than halfway. Okay, so what I was doing, not to let you know kind of what happened. So my baby is a month old. He was born August 15th.
Congrats, man. That's exciting.
Yeah. So when you told me that you got married in a year and before that you had your baby or something like that, that's kind of what happened with us. We got married, and then our baby came right around after like our first year of marriage, and it's like, oh man, now I have like a son, and it changes life for sure.
You probably felt like you're the only person with a son too, or am I the only one that felt like that?
No,
when I had my first kid, I'm like, I felt like the only person in the world.
I think I feel like that, and I think I know why, because a lot of my friends don't have kids.
Okay, I'm like the first.
Yeah, my friends. I'm the first in my friend group to have a kid. And I think that it's hard for me to be able to talk to someone who maybe is not my age, who doesn't have a kid. Yeah. Because if they're not my age but have a kid, I think it's still hard. Because maybe they don't resonate with me as well as someone my age. So I think that's hard. It
goes fast, man. Make that a part of your reason and your why. Like I know you already said that, but because it goes, my oldest, before I came out here, before I took my kid to football, she wanted to take pictures out in the fields out behind our house. So I drove out with her, and it's just like, man, she'll be 18 next year. Wow. Yeah. So, and it feels like she's still
your little girl.
My little baby. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's crazy. When he turned a month, September 15th, I was like, what? It's been a month already? I'm like, no, it hasn't. It's been, less than a month. And then it's almost going to be 2 months now. We're October 3rd, so it's like a couple more days and he'll be 2 months. I'm like, this guy's growing too fast. This is going too fast. I need him to slow down a little bit. But what happened was that, I've always struggled with being accountable with myself, Okay. Because I don't know. I think I went to therapy, and I think a lot of my past has to do with it, but I don't want to blame it on that. I think it's also just me not being accountable, Yeah. And so I got sick of it. I was like, man, I had a friend call me and he's like, dude, I seen your podcast, a recent podcast of yours or a post of your podcast, and I gotta tell you, dude, you look like shit. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, you look like shit, dude. You need to get your shit together and get back into the gym. Because at that point I had stopped working out. And I was like, you know what? He's right. Like, I do look bigger than I would like, and I'm not feeling as energized or whatnot. And when you're eating bad and unhealthy and you're not doing anything besides work and get home, you're not gonna
feel good.
Yeah, like your mind is gonna be all cloudy. You're not gonna have any clearness to think or process. And so I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Because I've always been a person who has worked out. Like I worked out since I was 12 years old. So it's always been in my life. And I was like, okay. And he told me about this mental program essentially called 75 Hard. Have you heard of it?
Okay. Yeah, I know that program.
So I looked into it and I was like, this seems like the ultimate accountability test for me. If I can do this, then I know by the end of the 75 days, I'll be more accountable than I was before the 75 days,
Yeah.
And that was my whole goal with it. And so I had already tried it once and I did it for one day and then I quit and that was it.
Yeah.
And so then that's when he called me again a few months later and he told me to get my shit together. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. This time I'm actually going to do it. And it was
Did you start it yet?
Again? Well, okay. So it was 3 months before my son was born. So it wasn't 3 months. It was a month and a few days. I had probably close to 40 days in. And I was 40 days in. I had lost 15, 16 pounds. Nice. And I was feeling great. I was like, everything was good, And then we had our son, which, at that point, I had to make the decision whether to be at the hospital with my wife. We were there for almost a week. Or go work out the days, those days. And I was like, no, my wife needs me, like the program can wait. And so I stopped. And I was okay with that. And now it's been a month since I've worked out at all.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. So I kind of deal with that, not with the 75 Hard, but I help people through 60-day programs, 21-day programs, 90-day programs. I'm going to give you some advice. It's advice that I had to give myself.
Yeah.
Is I think too many people try to be, I don't want to say perfectionists, but like, let's say it's a 75-day program. Mm-hmm. Like, I got to do 75 days. I got to not miss one single day because that's what it says.
Yeah.
Which is like, kind of like, okay, that's how you do it perfectly. Yeah. But I mean, let's just give a scenario. Let's say had you done the 40 days with your wife, 2 days in the hospital. Yeah. And then right when you get back, you hit day 41. Right. And, but too many people, I think, are like, it has to be exactly like the program lays out. And so I'm gonna give you that piece of advice, man. When you go after it, like if you miss a day building your business or doing a workout, show up the next day. Take the next right steps forward. And
that's great advice too for the listeners because I had to learn that the hard way, dude. Because I beat myself up. I'm a person who beats themselves up pretty bad. Like there's no worse critic for me than myself, you know. And I had to learn that through the podcast. I've missed a couple episodes, and I had thought that this podcast would always have an episode every week. And there's been, a couple weeks ago, we did a week without any episode. And I had to endure the fact that was what's going on, and that it was okay.
Yeah.
More than anything. And that the week after that, I'll be back at it. And that's fine. There's nothing's gone,
Yep.
And with 75, that's what I had to realize too. I was like, okay, I know I'm not going to do this right now, but I can always get back into it. And now with, my wife pushing me to the gym because it's been a month and I think she knows that, like, I'm sure your wife probably knows too. Like if you stop doing a couple things that you have to do for you to be good.
Yeah.
She'll be like, hey dude, come on,
let's go.
Get back into, the route that you're going. I think she knows that because, I'm not the same person when I'm not working out than when I am working out.
I'm grumpy. Like I get irritated easily with the kids and with life in general if I don't work out. So I got to hit it. No matter how busy the day is, like I got to do it. Yeah.
So now I'm going and like yesterday I did 3 workouts. I'm used to doing 6, 7 workouts, right? But yesterday I did 3 workouts and I was like, that's good. That's a good start. Like be okay with that. Today I went on a 30-minute walk And I was like, it's not my 45-minute run that I usually would do with the 75 hard, but it's a 30-minute walk. That's okay.
You're lapping the person on the couch, man.
Yeah, and I woke up and it's raining outside. It's cold. I'm like, I don't want to do this.
It is starting to get cold.
Yeah, but I think, what do you think it is that like, because you mentioned self-help. For you, what was it that you want to do, like go into self-help? Because now it's a big trend, right?
Yeah.
Would you say it's a trend now? Like a lot of people think
I didn't even know what they were before I started my business.
Yeah.
But I heard that that's what the most, like we had a game plan, and one of the main, what we call vital behaviors was like, do your workout and follow your meal plan, read personal development, make so many connections or contacts a day, and invite. Like those were the vital behaviors. So I'm like, I'm gonna do those vital things.
Gotcha.
And I didn't have internet at the time or a smartphone in my house, or like a laptop or anything. So I had this MP3 player Nokia phone that had a little SD card. You won't know about it because you're a young guy.
Yeah.
This is back 2011.
I only know like the old MP3s that like this big.
Yeah. So I downloaded Think and Grow Rich, Millionaire Next Door, and The Compound Effect were my first 3 books.
Compound Effect is such a great book. I read that book already.
Yeah. And I listened to them over 60 times that first year.
Wow.
And so I think a lot of the success we've had over the past 12 years of building the business comes from, obviously I've read, over 450 books, 490, since then. And I learned something from each of them. But man, the foundation that those books gave me of, the compound effect, just like you have the right mindset, the right belief, take the right action, you're going to have a positive life.
Yeah.
Like you'll get positive results. And all it takes is just doing a little bit every single day. Wow. So that was huge. And then Millionaire Next Door taught me to be frugal. As I built the business, like live within your means and invest and all that stuff. So those were huge for me. And I think it all applies to my fitness and things that I'm like teaching you, like just do the next, take the next step in the right direction. Just do the next thing that will compound for your betterment than for the worse.
Why do you think people struggle with that? Because that's a question I always ask myself. Why is it so hard for me, to stop doing this so I can be able to do this? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So when you're probably talking about stop doing this, it could be any addiction. It could be scrolling.
So let's take Oreos for an example.
Oreos. Okay.
I know.
I'll tell you why it's so hard.
Okay. So if I'm a guy who's doing your program, right, or any other program, doesn't matter, but I'm doing something in the health industry, and I'm trying to get better. I want to get in shape, and I start super excited day 1 on a meal.
Just meal plan, do your workout 100%.
Doing great. But then around 10 p.m. comes and you're watching Netflix, and then in the pantry there's some Oreos and you have the milk, and you're like, man, that sounds pretty dang good. I mean, it's
not
day
just
1
one of them.
Yeah, it's not going to be bad. It's day 1. I already did this day today. I can, tomorrow's going to be better. I'm not going to touch the Oreos tomorrow. So you eat it. Let's say day 2, you don't do that. Day 3, you don't do that. But then day 4, you fall back.
Do it again.
Why? Why do you think that
Why do you think people would do that? Because you like it. I think any addiction, whether it's drinking, smoking, pornography, Oreos, whatever it is, you do it because you like it. Even if you say you want to stop, inside you like it. Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack. This could be a whole hour therapy session. But,
let's get into it.
But there's a couple parts to that, because one of my most successful guys, he's become one of my best friends. I help him lose over 100 pounds. His name's Greg. He has a very successful 6-figure a year photography business. Still works a full-time job, and the dude visits every national, almost every other weekend. He's driving 17 hours to some national park. He's just living an awesome life.
That's awesome.
Lost 100 pounds. He never misses workouts, follows his meal plan. Yeah. Uses his supplements, but he eats Oreos. Yeah. When you said that, he's and he makes a joke about it. Oreos make abs, which isn't true, but he eats them in moderation. He came and stayed at my cabin with me maybe a month ago. And so I bought him Oreos. My buddy's coming. Yeah. So I got him a whole thing. Dude, I ate probably 3 full rows, and he had a half row while he was there. Wow. So he does it in moderation. Oh, so I think the important thing would be in moderation. My personality is all in. So if I buy a thing of Oreos, I'm eating the whole thing. Yeah. So you have to understand yourself a little bit in that aspect. But with him, like he has a great business, great fitness, like lost 100 pounds, kept it off for the past 12 years.
Wow.
And he eats Oreos, but it's like 1 or 2 a day.
Yeah.
Or 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's that side of it. The other side too is like, right now I'm Sean T is the trainer for Insanity. I don't know if you ever heard of that program back in the day.
No.
But anyway, he has a new program coming out in December, and I'm in a test group before it comes out, and I'm on day 2 today.
Oh,
and I got myself into, like, I'm the fitness business guy, right?
Yeah.
But I was pounding like tortilla chips with salsa and bean dip and eating Fritos and.
So what is it about those diets?
Bags of licorice.
Yeah.
Like I follow my meal plan, but I was doing that, and so
okay, I see what you
like
mean.
I'm getting stronger because I'm working out, but I was slowly gaining weight a little bit, you know. So it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And so like I'm even in that place right now, 12 years later, of like I just need to course correct. Yeah. And so for me right now, what I have to do is like I can't eliminate all of that because my kids are going to eat some chips in their lunch, you know, because we have the little bag, the box with the little bag, so they can take one. And so for me, like I had to find replacements for that.
Interesting.
So like I made a decision, at least during this first 30 days, I'm not going to eat any candy or chips. So I made not like I'm never going to ever do it again in my life because that's almost impossible.
Right.
So I set a short-term goal, like 30 days, I'm just going to clean it up.
Yeah.
And do it. And then I had to find some replacements. I went and bought some, not the most tasty thing, but I bought some baby carrots. Yeah. Like last night I felt like I was starving. So I had I made a second shake, like extra protein. I put some PB2 peanut butter powder in there, a banana, some blueberries. And it tasted like a chocolate Jamba Juice. Like, so it was a healthy version.
At least healthier than what
it took a little more time than grabbing the bag of chips because it took me like 5-10 minutes to blend it all up. But so just find a replacement, something that's a better option.
Yeah, because I have the personality, like the addiction personality.
Me too.
Where I get like once I get like, for example, you asked me what I was drinking. This is a Red Bull.
Oh, okay.
And so this is the only Red Bull I actually really like, which is the blueberry coconut or whatever this is, the blue one. It's a white one, the can. But like almost every day I'll drink a Celsius. Almost every single day. Well, Ghost maybe here and there. But, you know, since Friday, actually today I didn't drink one until right now. But since Friday I stopped drinking like energy drinks because I was like, man, I'm just like not really feeling it. And then
today.
Yeah, then today I was like, dang it. You know, I was like, it is what it is, you know. But when I was doing 75 hard, I drink no energy drink because I was addicted to the fact of working out twice a day. And you know, that was that's where my addiction could feed off at least, you know, where I would get the I don't know, whatever you feel, you know, and now that I'm working out maybe a little bit here, a little bit there, it's not easy, you know? So that's my personality. I get addicted to things and same with coffee. I was not a drinker of coffee and now I am. Every morning I drink a coffee.
I used to drink 2 Monsters or Red Bulls or Rock Stars a day when I worked in the steel factory. And then I'd even get into a habit, like once I built my business and, you know, I've been working from home and I have the freedom. So my schedule, when I put the kids to bed, I spend 2 hours every day playing, not every day, almost every day. My wife will say every day.
Yeah.
I pretend that I miss one day.
Yeah.
Playing Warzone with my boys. We just laugh and we play some Call of Duty and one of them streams. We have a blast with it. But like I would pound energy drinks so I could be like on my game and not tired, you know, because it's focused at night. Yeah. And I just realized just how bad they are. So I'm going to challenge you, man, to not drink them.
I really will try.
Yeah, so that's why, so for me, like I needed to replace it with something, maybe it's not 100% healthy, but a better option.
Yeah.
So now I take, even when I'm not working out, a scoop of a plant-based clean pre-workout. So it has 100 milligrams of caffeine, but it doesn't have all the other stuff that would be in like a Red Bull.
Yeah, that's why I don't drink Red Bulls I don't drink any of those. Today Red Bull was because I was like, man, this just looks really good.
Sounds delicious, but
yeah, I hadn't had one in a while, but I drink a lot more of like the Celsius, you know, the quote unquote healthier ones. I don't know how healthy they are compared to the Red Bull, but I look at the sugar intake and I'm like, I don't want to drink 30 grams of sugar every day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You know, I'm going to get some type of disease with that or something. It's not good. But yeah, it's not easy. How do you think people can work towards, if they want to start their fitness journey? How does, or any journey, what would you say would be like the first step? You know, what about like self-help even? You know, we talked about addiction, right? What if they have a bad addiction? Like, I don't know, what's a bad addiction?
A lot of them. Almost it could be smoking pot. It could be doing some drugs, taking pills, drinking,
smoking pornography, drinking. How would you think someone can get out of that? Or like, what would your advice be?
It depends on which one it is. I always say this when it comes like to me building my business or changing habits to help me build my business, you have to just make the decision one time.
Yeah.
So, for example, I started drinking a lot when I was playing music, when I dropped out of college. And then one day I walked in, and I've never talked about this on a podcast, so I hope my kids don't really watch this because they don't know some of this stuff.
You don't have to
it's
tell
okay.
Story,
it's okay.
bro.
It's okay. But I walked in and some people were smoking crack, and I did it because I was really drunk. You know? And so I got addicted. And I lived with people. I lived in that house, so it was like readily available. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I don't want to say, like it was recreational. It was like they did it only on the weekends. Let's say that everybody went to a job throughout the week and then did it on the weekends.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, and then I justified it to myself, like, well, it's not every day,
right?
Not shooting up. It's just like on the weekend partying. Yeah. So I kind of justified it. But what happened was when we went to pick it up once, like I was the person to go get it. Yeah. And I got some for myself without anyone else knowing. And then I was doing it every day without anyone knowing secretly.
Yeah.
And then one day, like everybody was hanging out and I found myself out by a broke down car in the yard. And like I was doing it out there and a cop car drove by and it just scared the crap out of me, man. It like scared me so bad. Yeah. Like I thought I was going to jail. Like, you're like, oh. And so it scared me so bad, but I had a moment of realization. Like I was like, dude, what are you doing? This is not you. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. And so I made a decision. I'm never doing it again. And I never did. But I had to take other steps outside. I had to remove myself from that. I moved completely from Orem all the way up into Salt Lake Valley with a new roommate. Yeah. So I had to remove myself from
the atmosphere.
So I think if you have an addiction, you have to do your best. First of all, make a decision. Like, this is not me. This thing's controlling me. It's not who I am. Yeah. And then leave or put yourself out of that so it's not available.
Interesting.
To the best of your ability.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I think it's either one of those two steps that sometimes fails. Yeah. You know? Because I've had my addictions. I think everyone has addictions.
Everybody does to something. Even though you can be addicted to being angry, like getting mad about things.
Yeah, just you feeling that adrenaline of being angry. You know, you know how some like couples like there's couples that fight because then like the sex afterwards is like the best ever. Yeah. That's an addiction, I think. You know, and so, but I think that you're right. You know, you have to remove yourself from those possibilities of falling back in. Yeah. You know, but that's hard. Yeah. I don't think that's easy. And I think it's one of those things you have to try.
So to give you an idea, without too much details, like I was getting myself into a dangerous place being married, having a very successful business, and playing music. So I was playing music in the bars where people drink. Yeah. There's women there. So I had to make a decision I'm not going to play music anymore because I don't want to be tempted above what I can resist or whatever.
Yeah. So, but where do you think that like, cause that's having like mental clarity in a sense, right? Of like you're take a step back and you're realizing what's going on. Yeah. And what's important to you. Is it this or this, right? Yep. But sometimes I feel like, and I've had this before where you don't take that step back. You kind of just move forward and you go with option A or B. And then 2 weeks on the road or whatever, option A comes back at you and, you know, backfires or something. So what is it that people have to do you think, or what has helped you to take that step back?
Yeah, people are like sleepwalking through life.
Yeah.
You're like not paying attention, just going one day to the next, 1 year to the next. So, man, I think that's why I'm like so passionate about my business, because like I help people not just with their workouts, but getting on a path of writing out your goals. What do you want? What do you want your life to look like? How do you want your day to look like? How do you want to, when you go through your day, what do you want that to look like?
Yeah.
How do you want to feel? Who do you want to be with? What do you want to be doing? So as you take time to write that out and, you know, journal every day about what your vision is, what your goal is, what you want to accomplish, you're taking time. You're not just waking up, getting on social media, going to work, coming home. You're like taking time to get clear.
Yeah. Do you think it's essential to write every day?
What's that?
Do you think it's essential to write every day?
I mean, you can live without it, but I think just journaling a little bit every day, getting your thoughts out is good. Like for me, it's just super short. And sometimes it's just write 3 things that I'm grateful for. Yeah.
For me, I'll tell you,
and it's never one of the addictions.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Yeah. I used to read a lot. Because when I was in therapy, that was one of my exercises my therapist told me to do was, Brandon, write at least, 2-3 times a week. Just don't even think about what you're going to write. Just, get your pen out, your paper, and just let your hand go. Yeah. And I realized, and looking back at it now, hindsight 2020, basically, when I'm writing, I am less anxious and more at peace with a lot of things. Whether I did the right thing or the wrong thing, but I'm more at peace, Yeah. And I don't feel guilt, or shame or whatever those negative feelings are. But when I don't write, those start to kind of stack on each other. Yeah. And so I need to get back on that.
Yeah. Get back to just kind of slowing down life a little bit, writing stuff down. Yeah.
Yeah. Life, because life has been a roller coaster. Not a roller coaster. It's been fast. Yeah. I think I grew up too fast in a way. From 16 to 20 at least.
Yeah, I bet.
16 to 18. Yeah. Well, because think about this, bro. Imagine being 16 and getting into like an MLM. All your friends are 30-year-olds, and you don't look forward to the weekends with partying or things like that. You look forward to making connections every day. And you know what making connections look like. You go out, you talk to people, and you try to start a conversation with someone. And so that is not always fun.
Yeah, you grew up fast doing that.
Yeah, and when you're 16, trying to impress a 30-year-old, 40-year-old man, it's hard, because why would even a 25-year-old listen to a 16-year-old? Yeah.
I think all of us could be insecure in some areas like that. Like, whether it's trying to impress or connect with. Like, even sometimes when you say you're 21, I'm like, I'm even sitting here, I'm like, dude, I'm 42. Like, this kid has got a lot together already for 21. Like, this is pretty cool.
Oh, dude. I get that. Me and my wife get that a lot, but it's like, I think about it, and maybe when I'm older, maybe when I'm 40, I'll have more insight and more wisdom on this. But I think I'm like, what I want, now my son, who one day is going to be 20, what I want my son to be in a similar spot I am now when I'm 20, that I'm 21, or what I would like for him to actually enjoy that 20 phase and be, the quote unquote 20 phase. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we talk about that because my wife, I met her when she was just barely turning 19. She was married, had the first kid when she was 20.
Oh, wow.
And so she talks about that with our oldest, who's going to be 18. Yeah. She's like, she's not rushing her to get off to college or school. Like, she kind of wants to go, with a best friend and live in Hawaii for a year and work. Yeah. And we have friends there, or, however they decide they want to do that. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, go do it. Go experience life a little bit, because you're going to be working or building something or raising kids for the rest of your life after that. So take some time. You don't have to be so structured like we were all taught. Like, graduate, get right into college right away, go get a career. Yeah. Like, do what you love. Do what you love. You got to work.
You have to figure it out one way or another. For me, college was never like one of the things that I wanted to do. My mindset on college, was always like, if I'm not going to be a doctor, then I don't need to go to college, Because if I want to build a business, I can learn how to build a business through other things, And that's actually how I came across MLM, because when, I used to be heavily into pot back when I was 15, like smoking every day. And one day I was like, what am I going to do after high school? I just thought about that. I was like, what the hell am I going to do after high school? Like, I'm going to be out of high school here in a couple of years. And all these kids are going to college, but I'm not, you know, because one, I didn't want to, and two, I don't even know if I could get into college. So, and I didn't have the funds either. So I was like, man, what am I going to do? And that's kind of where it switched for me to learn about business. And then like 3 months later, I went to go buy, not 3 months later, but I went to go buy books at Barnes & Noble's. 3 months later, this business came around, and that's kind of what took off, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, if you want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, you know, any of those things, like go to college. If that's your passion, don't just do it for the money because you're going to be miserable. But if you love that, go do it. But I really think like find a trade that you love, go to a trade school.
Yep.
Oh, if you don't want to do run a business, like go learn a trade in a year for a fraction of the cost of going to college and go be a master in that trade. Like I have friends that are dentists. I have friends that are lawyers and all that.
Well, our friend Francisco.
Yeah.
Look at him. He learned a trade cleaning, you know.
And has an awesome business.
Now has a
and he spends all of his
business.
spare time like doing jiu-jitsu with his family. He coaches my kid.
He's out in the mountains right now with his friend.
Yeah.
I just saw his story not too long ago, like a couple hours
ago.
ago.
Out riding his motorcycles.
Yeah, I'm like, look at this guy. He's
one of my best friends growing up smoked a lot of pot. Like he didn't graduate high school, but he went on and got his GED. Mm-hmm. Then he went to get, you know, a trade as an electrician, and he makes over $300,000 a year in California right now as a lineman.
Yeah, and that's one of those trades that you can earn a lot. Same with like any other like real estate, right? Insurance, those businesses or those, you know, industries, you can make a lot of money in them. But you have to kind of like it.
Yeah, you have to love it, or you won't last.
Yeah. What self-help? Why is that interesting to you? And why do you keep doing self-help every day? I mean, because once you get to a point, right, wouldn't you just stop?
Yeah,
or is that something that people think is?
Maybe people think that. Like I'm the kind that like I made a decision like this is what I'm going to do with my life. Mm-hmm. Like I fell in love with helping people with their health and fitness, but also mentoring people in their business. Yeah. And for me to be able to best mentor or lead or teach somebody else, I have to continually grow. Like I have to, like my capacity will be my leadership level. So I have to continually like dive in and learn what I can learn. Like, you know, even though like I'm listening to hours of podcasts a day throughout the day, I'm reading books, like I dive into my scriptures every day. And I'm doing all that. And even I had some friends that were with Brendan Bouchard, and I've been through a couple of his academies, like High Performance Academy. Yeah. And they were eating lunch with him, some of my good friends in my business. And I'm like, I wrote them like, how do I get in that room? Like, I'm always like, how do I get around more people that will inspire me, help me become better?
That's super key, right? Yeah. To get in those atmospheres that you can grow in with people who are maybe someone else farther in life than you.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not growing, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. There's no sitting still on an escalator.
You think so? You really think so?
That? You can't just stay still.
You know, I had a friend, that reminded me of a conversation I had a friend with. He's now in California, and his dream was always to be in the music industry, right? And he came to my house one day, and this was at the time that I was I was in the MLM business, and you know, I learned a lot of wisdom in that business. And so I was talking to him I gave him this analogy. I was like, you know, sometimes we're surrounded with people who kind of hold you down, you know, and you don't even realize it. And I was like, think about it this way. Think about being on a treadmill or being, you know, trying to run, but then having blocks of concrete around you hooked onto your waist. Yeah. And those concrete blocks are people holding you back from actually being able to run as fast as you can. Yeah. And if you're stuck in a spot where that industry is not there, you know, think about you being on that treadmill now. You're not going anywhere, right? So then after that conversation I had with him, shortly after, he moved to California. And he has been over there for a year now. But from where he started to where he's at now within what he's doing, it's like amazing to see the people he's met and the things he's been able to do, you know, with having no family or nothing out there, you know. He literally drove his car. He's stayed out there by himself and figured a way out. And now he's even like, you know, learning about higher power like God and things like that, right? And it's like, man, you're not the guy that I talked to a year ago, or you're not the guy who you were a year ago. Like, you're enhanced. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, dude, I just realized that if I wanted to move forward in life, I had to learn more about, spiritual life. I had to learn more about, read and listen to things that would open my mind up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
it's like
you don't,
Yeah, all those books, and whether it's you meet people in person that have done more than you've done or whatnot, you can learn from them. You realize you're capable of doing more or growing out of the place that you're in. But all those books look at it the same way. That author compacted their entire life learning how they got to where they're at, and they're teaching it to you. So it's like putting yourself in the room with them.
Yeah, you met Ryan. What's his name? Super good looking dude. I know that. You have a picture with him.
Oh, you're probably thinking...
He has the School of Success or something like that. His podcast is called.
Yeah, you're thinking of Lewis Howes.
Lewis Howes, yes.
Lewis Howes and Darman. Do you know Darman?
I don't know Darman.
He's got billions of views on YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
He has incredible YouTube videos.
Lewis Howes, I listen to his podcast I used to listen to it a lot. And I used to listen to it a lot in the relationship podcast that he has with some of the, therapists that he had on there or whatever. Because I don't know. In my family, almost everyone is divorced, Okay. And my wife's family, almost everyone is together,
Yeah.
So it's like, you come from this nucleus, I come from this nucleus. How are we going to make this work, And I wasn't going to take things out on her, even though sometimes I did. I was like, I need to learn what's important to me in a relationship. And I don't have that as an example physically.
Yeah.
So I'm going to learn through people who know more about me. More than me than I do about relationships. So that's kind of how I came around Lewis Howe. But so how was that meeting him?
It was awesome. It was kind of a funny story. So it was kind of during COVID time. We still had to wear masks. No, we were just barely out of that. I know I was wearing masks. My wife got the Bell's palsy for a minute. But that lasted for 2 weeks, so she had her mask on for it. But I took her to one of her bucket lists. Mm-hmm. It was, she wanted to go see... I just spaced his name. Canelo fight for the championship against Caleb Plant.
Oh wow!
So we got some close to front row seats at the MGM.
Wow!
And it was funny. All these people were wanting to take pictures with this woman, and it's Lewis's now fiance.
Okay.
She's a really famous actress, Mexican actress. And it's funny. I went and got I was like, that's Lewis.
Yeah.
And so I went and got a picture with Lewis, and I was like, oh, that's Darman. I got a picture with him.
Wow.
And people around us were, it's kind of a funny thing. I'll go into that a little bit more. But people are like, who is that guy? Why is he taking a picture with that guy? It's because not a lot of people are more people are into actresses, musicians than a personal development guru, let's call it, or a podcaster. And so that's how we were just sitting right next to him.
Wow.
But the funny thing that I'm going to say about that is a fighter would come by and if one person got a picture with them, people would jump out. They don't have a clue who they are. They jump out just to get a picture. So that's what I was going to say. Oh, that's just funny that people are like that.
Did you ask him any question?
Not really. I was just trying
to take the picture and say hello, basically.
Just met him and
yeah. I want to meet him one day, dude. I think he's one of those guys that I'm super interested in just figuring out how he came up with these things.
He was. I met Tony Robbins as well, and Gary Vaynerchuk.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Brendan Bouchard are some of my favorite ones.
Did you do you know about that event that just happened last weekend called Limitless?
Yeah, I saw that. A lot of those guys were there.
I was close to going. I didn't end up going, but I want to go. So because I had a bunch of speakers that I listened to, Andy Elliott, Andy Frisella, Brad Lee. I mean, there's a bunch of them out there.
A bunch of them, yeah.
So it's like, man, who do I even listen to now? you know? But that's cool. So how did you? Now your social media, you're one of the guests that has a bigger social media following. How did you grow that?
Consistency. I've literally posted every single day for probably 12 years.
Wow.
I don't miss.
Every day.
Yeah, and it's all I do is I take what I'm learning in my personal development or from a podcast. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That makes sense. And then I just reteach it in my own words. So the best way to learn something is to teach it to somebody else. So that's my way of the best memory to remember the things I'm learning is take the key thing that I learned that day and just reteach it, whether I'm writing a post or just speaking to the camera or for an Instagram reel or whatever. And just consistency. I probably have 5,000 videos on YouTube.
Dang.
Maybe 4,000. I might be exaggerating.
That's
like
awesome.
4,000 videos or something.
A ton of
but
videos.
It's just consistency over time.
Yeah.
I had a high school kid that I know. He plays on the Skyline football team. And he kind of knows our family situation and some of the things that we got going on in our lives. Yeah. And he's like, well, he got lucky. And my wife was like, lucky? Yeah. She's like, he's been consistent for 12 years. It takes working hard for 12 years. It's not lucky. And she's like, well, he got lucky and got viral and got a lot of followers. And I'm like, I'm far from viral. Like I put a post up and it's got like 40 views, like 40 people like and comment. But it's like, I stay true to the content that I teach and share to add value. And it's not the biggest following, but it's my people.
Right. It's your niche. You know,
it's my niche.
It's the things that you do and that you love to do. What, I saw that you have is it an architect page or something like that?
Yeah. We're building our dream home right now.
Okay.
And so I was trying to keep it like, we live a very like humble modest lifestyle. And so I was trying to keep it like on the down low, but then I was like, I'm just so excited about it. Yeah. Worked so hard for a long time about it. And then I was like, I've used like the sauna I have in my basement, I got for free because I'm like, have a social media, have a YouTube channel. I reach out to them like, hey, I really want that sauna. Mm-hmm. Like if I make a how to assemble it video, would you hook me up somehow? And I got a sauna.
Dang, that's cool, dude.
So that's why I'm doing it with the house. I'm like, one day it's on the river. So I'm like, most of the build I'll probably pay, and do, but I'm like, maybe when I need my landscaping done or I need a dock or a shed, I can reach out and collaborate. Yeah. So that's why awesome. I'm sharing that.
I do that. Again, it's weird because I'm sure does your MLM business teach like dream build basically? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't heard that phrase, but.
Okay. Well, in the MLM business I used to be in, they would talk about dream building, right? And dream building is going out and looking at things that you one day want to have. Okay. And envisioning yourself having that, right? Okay. So if you live in a pretty bad apartment, maybe it's a fridge, maybe it's a couch, maybe it's, I don't know, it's whatever it is.
Ocean vacation with your spouse that you've never been on or something. Yeah.
So I would go up to the hills and I would look at all those big houses. I still do to this day. I'll go up there and I went to the home of parades and I saw the homes. And when I saw that on your page, I was like, you're the only other person that I know who has not been in the MLM business that I was, that has, talked and now with social media posted the type of homes you want to have and how you want that to look. Yeah. Because, I shoot for the stars, dude. I'm like, I want 30 rooms, give me the money, give me everything I can, have. And some people think that's crazy and others think, oh man, that's pretty cool, but just kind of show it off or whatnot. But when I saw it, I was like, that's pretty cool that you do that, Not a lot of people have that skill. Yeah,
it's all, I had in my mind what I wanted one day, not needed. That's important to know. Wanted. And we've considered, Idaho is cold in the winter. Yes. I've worked from home for 12 years, so I could work from anywhere. So we've thought about moving to Maui. We stayed there for 6 weeks once in a house. We've rented houses in Texas and Arizona we do that in the summer with the family. So we're just testing out areas, but the kids just don't want to leave their friends here. Yeah. And rough. So I'm like, one day I'm going to build a dream house here versus moving somewhere else. And so I had in my mind what I wanted. I visualized everything that would be in that, and then set goals for myself in my, I do real estate with vacation rental properties. Okay. Yep. And I'm like, okay, when I get to this point with my vacation rental properties, then, because it's a business for us and I have reasons why I set goals in that, but it's also for other people. I get to see other people enjoy our homes and have incredible family reunions gathered in our houses and all of that stuff. And so, and then we still live in our starter home. It's an amazing home. My wife's made it absolutely beautiful, but some of our homes have pools. They got arcades and they got theater rooms and swimming pools. And then even until last year, sometimes we're eating pizza with paper plates and a swamp cooler on the back window, blowing the plates off the table. And all these other places have AC. So we've lived very modestly like that. Yep. I've lived in that house for 16 years. So when we built up our real estate to a certain level, and obviously I have my other business, I'm like, okay, now it's time to do something for us.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why we're building that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Have you read The Go-Giver?
I have.
That's a great book, isn't it? That's the book that that you just made me think about, telling your story about the house.
Yeah.
It's like that book is, I don't know why that book came up to my head, but I always recommend that book. The Go-Giver is amazing. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Short, huh?
Yeah, it's a quick one.
Yeah, it's fast. So with diets, you give meal plans to people. What's the hardest thing about following a meal plan?
What's the hardest thing about following a meal plan? Just being prepared. Like if you don't prepare, you plan on failing, you know? Yeah. So, you know, like I really struggled yesterday because, you know, like I said, I'm in this test group and I'm like, I'm going to go all in with this meal plan. Yep. I'm not going to do snacks for 30 days. And like, I didn't have more options.
Yes.
My normal options were the tortilla chips, you know, the box of like 30 different spicy Doritos and all that stuff.
I bought 2 bags of chips yesterday and I wanted to open one so bad and I didn't. I was like, I can't.
Yeah. So I had to prepare. Like today I ran into the grocery store. My wife does like grocery pickup and has stuff, but I needed to get some other stuff for me to like snack on. Like I said, the carrots, and I got this like green or organic, like already pressed like veggies, you know. Just some extra stuff that like when I was craving something, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat these or I'm gonna do this. So to follow a meal plan, I think you just have to be prepared, because if you don't have it there, like you don't have what you need to eat healthy, but then there's like the cookies and the whatever might be there. Yeah. Then you'll take the easiest choice when your willpower can only last so long before it wears down. Oh, dude. That's why they put candy bars by the register, because you spent the entire time going through the store. You resist it maybe in the candy aisle, you resist the chip aisle. Marketing. But then your willpower goes down. You get tired from all the choices and then your willpower is lower. Wow. And then you make that choice on something small.
Is that why they put the clothes up there too?
That's why it's all right in the front.
That's insane. I didn't even think about that.
Working with your psychology.
Yeah. You go elk hunting, right?
Oh, I love archery hunting. Yeah, I do both, but I love archery hunting. I love being in the woods with my bow and arrow.
So why archery? Why not rifle?
I do rifle hunting, and my oldest daughter and one of my sons rifle hunts with me. Okay. They want to archery hunt as well, but I love archery hunt just because it's harder. Okay. Yep. And you get closer to the wildlife. It's not like spot something 500, 600 yards away. Yeah. And then harvest it. It's still a lot of work. You got to take care of the animal, and we do all that ourselves. But archery hunting is like I had elk at like 10 yards. One of my best friends shot a bull elk this year at 5.5 yards. So imagine having a huge 700, 800 pound animal. Yeah. Have you done the all meat diet? What's a carnivore diet? I haven't done anything really extreme like that.
Would you?
I could. I mean, I love meat. Yeah. So I could do it. There's only one really, like, I don't like the word diet. Okay. Just fueling your body with proper nutrition. Like eating. That makes sense. Less sugar, less processed foods, and just eating good foods. Yeah. But I did go vegan for 1 year as an archery hunter. And the reason I did it, like, it's one of those things, like sometimes something bad happens to you in your life, or something gets so painful that you have to change. Yeah. So when was that? I was probably 37, maybe. Okay. And I had worse acne than I had when I was a teenager at 37. And I'm on YouTube videos. I'm speaking on, like, I've spoken on stage in front of 25,000 people, and I would put my wife's cover up on because it would be like so red. What? And so I would put cover up on, like, it's embarrassing. Like, to me it was, at least. It like reminded me of the worst times of high school or junior high. And so I'm like, I got to get rid of this. I'm 37. I thought this was like done, maybe early 20s. So I go to a doctor, like dermatologist and stuff, and I got prescribed some pills. Yeah. Like, this will take care of it. I took it, and it went away. And I'm like, clear skin for the first time, and I'm like 37. But then I didn't realize at the time, but my fingers started hurting, the bones of my finger, my forearms hurt, my elbows hurt. And I was like, man, I'm getting old. Yeah. I didn't put it together because I'd been using that for a few months. And then I went to a naturopath here in Idaho Falls, and he was asking me what was going on. We did some tests, and my liver was damaged from those pills. and it was those pills were causing all of the joint pain.
Man, oh man.
And so he's like, you need to go plant-based or vegan. Like that'll help heal your liver and clean you up. And it turns out like I went plant-based / vegan.
Yeah.
And well, I went off the medication, the acne came back. And then that's when I started continuing to talk to him, like, go plant-based and let's heal your liver up and it'll clear your skin up. He's like, if your liver's cleaned up and healed up, your skin's going to clean up. So
I want to do that carnivore diet.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just kind of want to try it out. But because, like you said, diet has I think diet nowadays has a bad stigma to it.
Yeah.
You know, I think like at least in the groups I've been around, if I say, I'm going to diet, you know, they're like, oh, well, you're trying to lose weight. Yeah. Like they make fun of me. I'm like, all I'm doing is just eating healthier. You know, it's not really.
That's why I said I don't like the word diet.
Yeah, they're like, are you not eating anymore? No, I am. I'm actually eating more than I would before this diet, but it's just I'm eating healthier, you know?
You know what's crazy? People will eat massive pound rock stars or eat a whole bag of Doritos.
Yep.
No one says a thing. Or drink every day or heavily on weekends. Yep. No one, sometimes you have a good friend that's like, you need to slow down. But for the most part, people won't say anything.
Yep.
But then you're like, I'm going to try to eat. You go to a barbecue and you're like, I don't want that. Like, I'm trying to eat a little healthier.
Tell me about Mexican families, bro.
Oh, they'll be like, oh, he's on a diet. They'll like make fun of you. But when you're doing the really bad things,
no one says anything.
So that's a crazy thing that needs to change.
I think it's just got turned around a lot. You know, if we look at pictures from the 1980s from California, you know, the beaches over there and the people, dude, everyone looked ripped. Everyone looked fit. Even the females, like they looked super healthy. Yeah. Now, dude, you don't see that.
It's a lot different, and it's the food that's doing it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is that, you know, I think it just got out of hand with the processing. You know, I think at some point, you know, whoever made the decisions, we want to get conspiracy and talk of government, they just kind of let the things get too easy and process too much food, and now it's like a problem. Yeah. You know, I think that's why we're the number one nation with obesity. Yeah. You know, it's kind of sad.
1 in 3.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. And I mean,
you know what's crazy too? Sorry. It's not even politicized to be healthy. Yeah. You know, it's like, when did health become political? You know, now I read an article the other day that if you're healthy, it doesn't matter what side of the, you know, what you stand for, like what part of the groups you are, you know, but the article basically said if you are a fit person and you are working out, you're an extreme right person. You know, you're extreme Republican. It's like, when did that become a thing, you know? It's kind of crazy. So it's like, man, why can we just not promote health? You know, health is good, I think.
Yeah, we need to be healthy.
Wouldn't you
and
agree?
It's not that hard. Like and when I help people sometimes get on meal plans, a lot of times they're like, I can't eat this much food. Like people think that eating healthy means eat less. But like if you're eating all the right foods, it's extremely, like, it'll fill you up. Yeah. So just stay away. My advice would be stay away from all the center aisles and just eat from the outside, the produce and everything on the outside aisles.
And I realized that, like when I was doing 75 hard, dude, working out twice a day for 45 minutes is not easy. You know, that's a lot of and then still working an 8-hour job. So you're putting your body through a lot. But if I wasn't to follow my meal plan and eat, I wasn't following a strict meal plan per se, but I was following a meal plan where I knew the stuff what I was eating was healthy. Yeah. You know, so for example, the tortillas, instead of flour, I would get whole wheat. Yeah. You know, that's a small change. It's healthier and that's fine. Instead of eating 5, I'm only eating 2. You know, instead of eating 6 eggs, I'm only eating 4. You know, things like that. And I was eating a lot of food, but I was losing a ton of weight and I was full. Didn't drink any drinks or things like that. Stayed off alcohol. I was like, man, it's not that hard. You know,
it's not.
But once you get in the rhythm of it, that's what's hardest, I think, is the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
What do you think about, you know, I don't want to get religious talk, but I do think that spirituality plays part in everyone's life. I just think that some people don't realize it. Yeah. But for you, does that play a part in your life? And how did you come around spirituality? Doesn't matter what part of religion or you are in or anything like that. We don't have to get into details. But just, you know, whatever you believe in, the higher power, let's call it.
Yeah, I mean, everything that I've accomplished, I believe, comes through God. If we're talking about our business or me being able to change different parts of my life or get rid of any habits, is like he plays a huge role in that. Yeah. Like 100%, like almost all of it. Like putting in his hands for that matter. Yeah. I was inspired by, like, I'd kind of fallen off track from reading scriptures as like a daily thing. I was reading my personal development, like massive amounts of personal development. And then I followed her example. Like she read through an entire like scripture book and I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Wow.
Like every morning I'd see her laying in bed before she got up reading and like I just didn't do it.
That's awesome.
And then, so she's the one making me do all the changes, right? The P90X first, the reading first.
Shout out to your wife.
Yeah.
Let's get her in here.
Yeah. So I started reading and daily and like right now, I've probably never felt better than like ever. Like right now, just being consistent with that. Like even when I was hunting, I get up in a tree stand. Like the first thing I was doing every day was opening it on scriptures.
So you just read it from front page to back page or what? Or you just
I just do one chapter of whatever book I'm reading. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's played a huge role. I mean, when we were really struggling before I started my business, for example, when this guy from church came over, and I don't care what church you come from, like one of the laws of the Bible is to pay tithing, and I'd never paid tithing in my married life. And that was one of the first challenges that we were issued. Yeah. And it's like, we're already like paycheck to paycheck, all the overtime hours. Yeah. And I would say it's like a miracle. Like I started paying tithing
so many times.
Dude, we started paying tithing, started going to church. Yeah. And then all of a sudden a year later, like I'm in this business and obviously I worked hard for it, but our trajectory completely changed.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard that so much. I think I have a hard time grasping the idea of tithing. And I think, you know why I think it is? I think it's because I'm not invested in reading the scriptures. Yeah. You know? I think if I was invested in reading the scriptures, I would be more open to the tithing idea. Because I've been in church before and I've been in different churches and whatnot, and they all, essentially all of them ask for tithing, but I never paid at all. Yeah. And to me, it was just like, I can't, I don't have the money or whatever, or why would I pay, that was always the mindset. And, funny enough, now that I think about it, I was always struggling too. Yeah. So I'm like, but I think it was because I was never really invested into the scriptures. Yeah. And I think about it now too, the times that I've been super consistent, super accountable, reading every day, whatnot, I've always felt like I was doing so much progress in the self-help side, but I also felt like something was missing, something's missing. And I'm like, what can I be missing? I have a beautiful wife, I don't live too bad. Like I'm doing okay, I'm going towards, what I want to do and whatnot. I'm figuring things out, but something is missing. Yeah. And I think it's always been that, dude. I don't think I've given myself the time, which is kind of, I don't know, bad, I guess. But I don't think I've given myself the time to sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to take 10 minutes to read even a page of a scripture. Yeah. And so I think a lot of young kids go through that now. And it's sad, because even for me, think about it now, I'm like, man, I should be more. Yeah.
I was even inspired by it's just being around people like my buddy, the Oreo guy. Yeah. Greg. So he's an adventure photographer on Instagram. Yeah. Also goes by Greg Oreo. His name's Greg Oreo.
That's funny.
Greg Oreo. But he came out of the cabin and the dude, anytime we weren't doing something, sat at the table and had his Bible out. Wow. And like, I wasn't reading at that time yet either. Yeah. My wife I'd seen the example of her, but he was always reading and always sharing it on his stories. And so like now when you see me do that, like it's his example, like following that example of how he would share something from there. So we always tag each other in the scriptures that we're sharing. But I was just inspired by him. Like he was inspired by me. He came to learn, like ready to push forward with his business and do some bigger things in that aspect. But like I left inspired by him doing that. Like just everything he talked about was like giving it to his relationships, everything, like giving it to God. And I was just inspired by it. I'm like, I want to be more like that. Yeah. Like he was inspired by what we'd done financially and with real estate investments in our business, but I was inspired by
the spiritual side of
that.
That he
Like
had.
I need more of that.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I think that's important. I don't know. Yeah. I think you inspired me now, that's why I love doing these podcasts. Cause it's like, I have people on that I had I had a lady yesterday come in, who built a successful restaurant business in the course of 10 years. And she was showing me like some of her numbers. And I was like, your numbers went up every year. She started with less than like 15 grand her first year. That's not that much money.
Yeah.
To make a year less than $15,000.
And the amount of work goes into running your own restaurant. Yeah.
But then the year after that, it's like 100 times that. It's like insane. I was like, holy smokes, you went so like, I don't know what happened, but every year after that 1 year, it just went up and up and up.
Yeah.
And now she's doing pretty well for herself. And I'm like, she's like, a lot of people think it's easy. A lot of people think I did it overnight and just see what I have now. But I've been busting my ass for 10 years.
Yeah,
and no one sees the long nights I put into work. No one sees the fact that, my relationship had to take a toll for it, When she's like, when I met my wife, I told her, I'm married to my business and I'm going to dedicate the next 10 years of my life to my business. And if you're okay with that, cool. And if not, then I'm then I'm not for you technically.
Yeah.
And the wife held it down. And
that's cool.
Now, they're enjoying life now. I'm like, that's badass,
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I think one of the things that God wants, this is my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. That God wants most for us is to have great families where we teach great values.
Yeah.
And there's not the divorce rate is high, like
50%. Yep.
And so like, if we're like, I'm always, this is my first podcast where it's not just about business or how to market or how to lead your team and all that stuff. So I've had fun doing it.
Thank you.
But like I always say, like you could have like the most successful business, whatever that is in your mind. But if your family's not intact when you get there, it's not, you're not successful.
Yeah.
Right. If you put that on
that's 100%. So true.
Sacrifice that for that. And so, yeah, I think when you keep God first, helps you remember to keep your family in the forefront as well.
Interesting.
And then there's no way I could have built the business that we have without him bringing the right people into my life. Like I put in the work, like I had the faith, the belief, but and then the continual action behind it. But like the right people, business partners came in to like watch the video. Like, I don't know how they found it. Right. And they're like emailed me and, we built great friendships through that, but there's no way they would have, I could have done it without them.
Yeah. And I think that's super, what you're saying resonates a lot because, they say that first year of marriage is the hardest. And, me and my wife had a decent year, I think, but what I realized was that I could do everything right as far as the things that I enjoy doing, whether it was working out, whether it was doing this or whatever. But if me and her had a fight, at the end of the night, that was still there.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to sleep feeling proud of myself for the things I did. Instead, I went to sleep feeling like, man, the person next to me is mad at me. And this is the person who I love the most in my life.
Yeah.
And this doesn't feel good. So I don't care about what I did. I just need us to be good again,
Figure it out.
And I think if I don't realize that, let's say 5 years, 10 years from now, I'm successful in a business. If my life, as far as my wife and my family is wrecked, I think what you're saying is true. I won't be happy at all.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will be happy at all.
Yeah.
So that's super insightful. That's cool, man.
Yeah. My wife and I, we were separated at one time and we had to figure it out and work it out and realize what's the end goal. And, so we just like anything, like building a successful business, being successful with your weight loss or your nutrition and your workouts, we have to set consistent goals and follow through with them.
Yeah.
So we read a book every single night.
Wow.
And
same book together?
Yeah, she reads it and I listen. I massage her feet for like a solid 45 minutes to an hour while she reads.
That's awesome.
So that's every night. I have my hobbies, like I play Call of Duty, like I said. But it's like I'm on a time schedule. Get the kids in bed. I play. The boys want to keep running later with the game. I'm like 10:30. I'm off, and then I'm immediately on the couch. She reads. I massage her feet, and then I do whatever she wants with her.
Yeah.
you know, and she lets me do what I want. And I'm introverted, so my thing is play the video game for 2 hours. Her thing is her love language. It's a book, 5 love languages.
Oh yeah.
Is quality time, and so then I make sure that I
give that
solid at least hour and a half to 2 hours every night. So we do that. Take walks. We go on a date every Thursday. It's called our Thursdate. So cool. I take time out of my work day, 11 to 3. We go on a date every single week. So I think it's important to set goals.
Yeah. We realized that in our first marriage, dude. Not first marriage. In the first year, we looked back at it and we're like, man, what happened to our relationship? We were like, we kind of forgot about keeping the relationship, you know, because we were so driven, focused, and, you know, we had our own things and, you know, just didn't really spend too much time together. Like our time together was watching Netflix together. And, you know, that sure, you know, if you want that a week, one weekend, sure. But every weekend, it's not going to be so much fun after, you know, the first 2 weekends. So it's like, we're like, man, we kind of forgot about that. So this year, that's our goal, is to keep the relationship fresh. Yeah. In the sense of taking time to give to the relationship. You know, me be boyfriend and her be girlfriend, and basically go out on a date and do whatever. And so, because man, marriage is a whole different story. We can talk about marriage for 3 hours. You know,
maybe you ought to get Gabby. Gabby's awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to have her in. I'd probably be a little bit intimidated. Gabby, but you're welcome to come if you'd like, Gabby. I bet if she did a podcast with my wife, I bet they have a great conversation.
Oh, it'd be awesome. Yeah. She's way better than me at conversing.
Oh no, dude, you did great. I think it was fun. Let's get you out of here though.
Okay.
I think we did a good time. I don't know. I think we're at an hour 30 probably.
That's good.
But that's a great time. Okay. Dude, I had so much fun, bro. Yeah. Thanks for coming. I definitely learned a lot from you. And I hope we stay in touch, dude.
Yeah, we will, for sure.
You're invited for a part 2.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's do it. You have any social media you want to hand out?
My Instagram is at Scottie Hobbs, SCOTTIE. You can find me on Facebook as well. If you want to follow that dream house build, it's just at Hobbs Dream Home on Instagram. And then YouTube, if you want tips and advice.
What's your
Just search Scottie Hobbs.
Okay, Scottie Hobbs.
Yeah, you'll find me.
Any last words of advice?
Man, just I think one of the biggest things is just realize it's not over wherever you're at in your life. You can change. You're not stuck. And there's just so much more out there. I'm 42, for example. You might be 20. You might be 25. I still have 25 plus years of working life. It's never too late to start doing something that you love. Yeah, love that. Guys, go check us out on Instagram, the OAP official, Brandon A. Lara, Jackie AAA, CKE_. We're on all platforms under Once a Project Podcast. Thanks for listening. We love you. Thank you again for coming through, man. This was fun. Thank you. Anticipated for sure. You know, that was very anticipated. And I'm excited that you came. I'm very happy with how it turned out. So thanks, guys. Thank you, Scottie. All right. See ya. Bye-bye. We knocked that out, dude. Cool. That was good, man. Yeah.